gently, whatever, and
traveling or
move forward. What's interesting is what's really good is there's only
Colors? You should wonder how some of that stuff wasn't thought of to begin with.
yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'll yield to Jacob, the real Jacob.
Sorry, the chair's gonna come under me.
Roll call. Who's our
That'd be me.
Gregory?
Wade? Here. April?
Here.
Greg? Here. Jeff?
Yep.
Nikki?
Here.
Danielle?
Here.
And Eric.
Present. Okay. Student board member report. Through clerical and administrative snafus, not administrative, but we don't have one here tonight. So football games Friday night, dance is Saturday night. And they, I'm sure, have dress-up days all week long.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And the parade, board
Oh,
members
yes.
are invited to the parade.
Friday.
It should be 12:45.
Yep.
Right
Ames High
outside
School, 12:45.
of the district office is where we'll be at. And if you would like to judge the floats, I have packets pre-done with a list of what floats are coming by at what time, so we can judge that and we can get them over to the kids. And is there, if you had purchased a homecoming shirt, or is there a specific day to wear those, or
Friday's the day to wear them.
Friday's the day to wear those? So,
Did the homecoming shirts get delivered?
Yeah, they're here in building.
They
Yep.
are?
They haven't gone out to students yet, but they showed up today. Yep.
Oh, good to know.
Yep.
Thank you.
Is there a dress like a TV character day this week?
today was Disney character.
Yeah.
What's tomorrow?
Monster University College,
Yep.
sorry.
That's okay.
It's good that you answered because I didn't remember.
I came home to my son
And today-
torturing a brand new pink dress shirt that I had bought. And he ran it through the dryer on high, I don't know how many times. Better part of this week and a lot of last week. And so he said he looks like Walter White.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
So, yeah. So,
And that
glad
was
I
his
spent
goal.
that money. I never got to wear it, but that's okay. Okay, great. Agenda adjustments approval. Anything? No. Board member reports. Wade, do you have anything?
HVET, they might do a type of survey slash consultant just to see how they can better utilize the services from HVET. So more updates on that in the future.
Yep.
That's about it.
All right. April.
I was just gonna say we got through negotiations and Vicky and Amy did a great job, and I think you're gonna cover that more later.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll stop there.
Awesome. How soon can we sign the contracts and get rolling?
The membership will get together and bring it to vote on the Monday, the 26th.
Oh.
And I've put on the agenda that I'd like to propose a special board meeting, and we advertised it already, so we're set on the 28th, because that would be the next Wednesday, so a week from today, if people can make it. So we can approve that. That will allow us to be able to start doing the minimum amount of retro that we would have to.
That's on the
that-
28th, you
that
said?
going. Yep.
So that's
28th,
next
that'll-
Wednesday, just a show of hands, who's available next Wednesday for a quick, okay, we got 4.
And it'll be a one-item agenda.
All right, good. When did we get the agreement?
We got the tentative agreement on the 8th.
The 8th,
Yep.
and they're waiting until the 26th.
Yep.
Any explanation on that, or?
Deanna
don't
and
need the
I
money
had,
yet, or?
well, Deanna and I had a conversation about that, and it was completely contingent on Greg's schedule. Their MSEA field rep was not available until the end of the month.
Because he
so-
votes, or?
No, because he
Oh.
feels like he has to be here.
Oh,
So it's part of what he has to be here for, so that's So unfortunately, we waited a little bit longer, but Deanne was wondering the same thing. She's like, why didn't we get this scheduled right away?
Yeah.
But,
Well, I hope
just the way it
that,
is.
I hope the district knows it wasn't
yep.
on our part.
Yes, I have had that conversation with membership here, and I've also had that conversation with Deanne
Great.
and at the,
Yeah, and all the people at negotiations knew that we were ready to
Okay.
go, and that it was on,
My
the ball was
chastising
in
is
their
over.
court.
Very good.
yes.
Well, to be honest, we've been 14 months behind before, so this coming out this quickly has been a testament to a lot of people, so.
But we gotta turn the page too, though.
Everyone worked really hard and worked together very well on it.
Okay,
Great.
very
And
good.
membership seems to be very pleased. I've had many, many, many people ask me to extend thanks to the crew that worked on it from the district's end.
Excellent. Anything else to report? No, okay. Greg, do you have,
Nothing to report.
nothing, that's okay. Jeff? No, all right. No, Nick, all right. No. Well, I don't really have a report other than, so I was part of an email chain today, and I guess I'm gonna steal your thunder a little bit.
That's
here.
okay.
My chest sank when I read that there was a potential active shooter in Rochester today. And so I just, it was a really good reminder for me that, you know, we say that we're here for the benefit of our kids, but we really are here for the benefit of our kids. And so it is a very, very important job that you all are doing. And then I understand the sacrifice and the brain damage that you get. So thank you all for being here. And that's a nice segue into, we haven't had Alice training in quite some time. And so if Mindy, if you could speak
Yep.
to that, give us an update when we
Right now?
could expect to see
Yep,
that again.
I definitely will. So I've been talking with Luke and Mike from PD, and we've reserved dates around MEA for the PD in the building, because it's been so long. I don't want to run a active shooter drill with kids or people in the building the first time through. I want to give them some chance to figure it out, and they've got so many new people. So that will happen either the 20th or the 21st, which is over MEA break. Anyone who would be interested in being here and participating in it, I'd love that. I'm gonna send it out to staff too. If anyone wants to, they're welcome to. Just to have bodies in the building, but that's really for PD. And then, this will be I'm overing on a little PLC time here, but because of the importance of this, that PLC right before MEA, I'd like to take that time. That will be enough time to do an Alice training with, Josh is one of our certified trainers, and then Mike Ernster will be over also, and we'll do that with the entire staff that Wednesday to make sure that they know what's going on. The kids will be gone, everyone will be able to concentrate,
And can you briefly explain what Alice is, just so?
Yep, I'll let our certified trainer
Yeah,
go through that.
ALICE stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate. And so it's a different process that, the old school way of, sitting in the corner and awaiting your fate. It gives us a lot, it's a more proactive way to respond, and empowers more people to be active and gives us the best shot at reacting and saving lives in a horrible situation.
Excellent.
And
One thing that happened in Rochester today was hordes of parents showed up demanding to want to enter the school. So I don't know what our plan is to seal off all the different exits that come to the school from the roads and things like that, but they set up across by the fitness center, and they were gonna have their, all the parents pick up their children over there. A lot of them are trying to enter the school, so
Yep.
it was,
Yep.
and I know you guys have addressed this, but it was just, they had an utter swarm of people driving there, immediately wanting to enter the school, so.
Yep. And Mike and I did attend a school safety conference in Rochester, and a lot of the discussion components were around what's already in place and what we need to adjust, and so we had some great discussions on that, and we'll have that as an admin team meeting actually tomorrow. It's on my list of things to include in that discussion, but one of those things is we did see a video on a situation that unfolded just like that, and the reaction that we got from parents, and because they didn't have certain things in place. And so that's, it prompted some great discussions, some things that we do need to have ironed out. So, absolutely.
Because they had like 80 cops show up, and they needed almost all of them just for crowd control.
Yep.
So I don't think we're gonna get 80 cops here, so.
And, you know, it was not just in Rochester right now, this is the swatting piece that's happening everywhere. There were a ton of schools in Colorado that got the same thing. The calls in to the police department or the sheriff's department locally saying, you know, active shooter or massive casualties, those are the two they've been using. What I found out from BCA is that
And what's BCA?
Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. From my former district, I have some connects there. And so as I reached out, the area code was from out of the state, but they're finding consistencies in the area code between all of the different states that were called, et cetera. And it was all over our state. Originally, they talked about it just being in the southern part of Minnesota, but my hometown, Cloquet, got the same thing happened at the middle school and the high school there too. So we were seeing it kind of all over today. So that's kind of where we're at. They are pursuing actively to try and find out who is the perpetrator behind it, and so they've got a lot of, you know, Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, FBI, et cetera, are all looking at this at a federal level because it was a multi-state thing, so.
I have a question in relation to that. For when we have an emergency in the building, whether it be a medical emergency or something of that level, do we have different types of lockdowns so that students can be
Yes.
assured that
Yep.
they're good? And that's consistent between the two buildings?
Well, it will be.
Okay.
This is the first year, but last year when we did have a couple medical emergencies,
Yeah.
especially during, actually, both of them were during our lunch hour. And so hopefully with our new speaker system, with it not working last year, it took a lot of teamwork from the staff to be able to position people in different places and to make some announcements, to have some common, you know, messages go out. But yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So do you have a behavioral response team and an EMR team set up that are trained to respond?
We do, and we actually have, that's on the agenda for our admin team, is to update that because we haven't met as a crisis response team in a while. And so, yep.
Okay.
But we do have one.
Let me pass this down. I brought this just because I knew it was going to be timely. And it'll go into our employee handbook also. There'll be hot links to all of those things. But that was last year's crisis response manual.
It does need some updating.
Yep, it does need
Okay.
updating, but that's what
This
we're
is
in process.
accessible digitally?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, I can make sure you all get the link.
Thanks.
Awesome. I didn't mean to derail the meeting, but thought it was important.
It is
All right,
important.
community input. We've got Kristen Phillips here. Hi.
Do you want me to pass them out for you, Kristen? I just kind of like a page
And it is live.
All right, well, thank you for letting me come talk. So I'm here tonight to talk about hopefully getting a field dedicated to honor my Aunt Jane Weisbrod. So if you're familiar with the history of girls soccer, my Aunt Jane created the program, both club and at the school level. So like growing up, I always had to play on the boys team, and it was kind of tough. So in 7th grade, I actually quit because that's when club kind of stopped, and then there was only the boys team at school. I didn't feel comfortable playing with boys anymore. So it wasn't until my junior year, after years of organizing and planning, that Jane brought girls soccer to the school. And I'm really thankful that I had those 2 years at the high school with her. And La Crescent's always done such a great job of honoring male coaches, and I kind of think it's time we honor a female coach. So there's an article that's attached to that. It really kind of goes over the history of what Jane's did for the program, so you can kind of read that. And then on the cover there is just like a design maybe for the sign. I talked to Summer at Thorson Graphics, and she can, put something together, which I would obviously pay for, and I'll pay for the installation and everything like that if you guys do consider doing it. But yeah, Jane was really great. She made it possible for all of us to have a playing field, and she coached us when she couldn't find coaches. She'd ref when we couldn't find refs. She kind of did everything for us. So, is there any
Thank you very
questions?
much.
Thank you very much.
And when she originally contacted the district, we went through and we looked at the policy that we have. That is something I'm going to ask the policy committee that we make a correction in, because instead of it saying petition, because that caused a little bit of a kerfluffle when you hear the word petition for this, you think it's something naughty or something bad that you're fighting against. And so signatures of support is what I'll suggest that we change that to as we look forward. But you were able to get signatures, like many right away.
Yeah, I kind of stopped it at like 650.
Yeah, and it didn't take very long, so this is definitely something the community is very supportive of. And that's an item down on the agenda, so we just wanted to give you a little background first about it. Thank you.
All right, very good. Moving on to review items. 8A, budget update. Amy Lake.
Okay, just a quick little update. We had our auditors here last week. As far as I know, everything went pretty well. So the report in your packet is fairly close to finished. It's not totally finished. We've got a few adjustments to make yet. But the good news is, if you notice at the bottom of the page, I did put in an estimated ending fund balance. I think when we did the revised budget, we were estimating about 15.5%, and now we are looking at about almost 16.9%. So better than budgeted for.
Good.
Hopefully it'll stay that way. Final number.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that. What's our policy on the fund balance we went left? Is it what, 8 to 12?
It's 7 to 12, I think?
7 to 12, something like that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep, so, yeah.
So we're in a good spot.
well,
Fantastic.
But yeah,
very good.
and I think the auditors are coming probably in November.
Kind of boring.
We'll try and keep it brief.
Try sitting in a room with 4 of them.
Good point.
Probably.
Yikes.
True story.
All right, anything else? Okay. Moving on to item 8B, enrollment. So there it is, huh? So what's our kindergarten at? 67. All right. And is that in line with previous years?
Outkicking our coverage.
Good, okay.
For kindergarten, yes. We are
Great.
down, September of last year, when you look at our total EC through 12 enrollment, as of last year, we were at 1057. And so this year we're at 1014. So it's not super alarming, but it's just something we've got to keep an eye on. Now, I did hear from Mr. Kopp that we've got a couple of other kids that are coming to tour the school, so we're still getting some kids trickling in. My neighbor came over to my house last night and knocked on my door at 11:45 because she is working on getting students to come over from the Philippines where she lived and grew up. So they're moving here from the Philippines, so we may have a couple of Filipino children coming into school here too. So she wanted to know the process, so it was.
Start with not 11:15.
Great.
Luckily, you're not hourly.
Okay, very good. Action item 8C, first reading of the Cucumb Goals, elementary goal. Anyone want to speak to that?
The commentary,
Brief?
it says draft just because it has not been approved by the board. This is something that's gone through our teacher leaders that are responsible for the student data and focusing on improving instruction. So that's what PLC leaders do, a level person that looks at the data, and we're continuing our focus on reading to increase increase it to 75% proficiency, with ultimate goal being 80% proficiency, but we're continuing to ratchet that up, staying the course with it.
Thank you very much. Josh, you want to speak to the middle school goal?
Middle school goals, same focus area as last year as well. Obviously changing the numbers. Last year the goal was to improve from 33%, and we're starting the year at 39%. State average is hovering right around the 44. And so any SMART goal, obviously it needs to be attainable. So we need to make sure that we're a reasonable increase is anywhere from 2 to 5%. And so we went with a 3% increase from 39 to 42.
Is there an ultimate goal for that?
What's that?
Is there an ultimate goal for that?
To always at least be at or above the state average.
State average.
When we get to that point and can maintain that, we would probably look at changing the goal area.
Okay.
All right, and then Jacob, do you want to speak to the high school goal?
Yeah, high school was actually set last spring, so I wasn't a part of the discussions that created it or any of those pieces. So I don't have a whole lot of background, but I know that the ACT has been kind of the frequent focus for high school goals.
All right. Any questions from anyone on? Okay. Then, item 8D, special meeting on September 28th at 6 p.m. to ratify the MSCA contract if approved by the membership. So we had at least 4 people, so if you want to go ahead and post that, whatever we need to do. Then I invite you to look at the consent agenda, and after prayerful consideration, we'll consider a motion.
Move to approve.
Okay. We have a
Second.
motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Can we just look at donations, please?
Yes. Any in discussion, any questions on any of these? We've got a lot of movement here. Looks all normal.
I know Araya's not here, but are we posting the softball coach position at some point? Anyone know?
I'd ask him the same question.
Like, what are we waiting for something? Or?
I think we
I
could
think he was
post.
actually waiting to get towards the tail end of the fall season before posting it.
Okay. Well, just because I saw golf, like, they posted golf, because Kubitschek.
Huh?
I think actually he's also waiting on a letter.
Wade and Nikki. Same.
To resign.
So my understanding is that it's like it doesn't auto, like, we,
It is that, but yeah, it could,
right, so
it could.
it's not automatic. So does he actually have to resign?
No.
Right.
That decision could be made.
Yeah. Okay. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that cryptic conversation.
Yeah, wow. Am I at an Illuminati
I know what
meeting
you
or what?
meant. Jesus.
Secret decoder ring is under this chair. Just pull that out and, okay.
And
All right.
if I'm to understand this correctly, each season, the coaches are rehired? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, like a coach isn't under contract for like a 5-year contract, right? A coach is like at will, season to season, and if the school decides it's not working or the coach decides it's not working, both are able to make that decision, so.
Okay. And I've seen that set multiple ways in different districts.
Yeah.
So if the board would like it to stay that way, that's great. If you want it to change, there's other ways you can do it.
No,
So it's just,
I
okay.
think it's great.
Okay. Yes, so here are the donations. So this is from Mindy's parents. Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Crowley.
Oh, nice.
That looks like a lot of stuff.
Do you have to haul that back down here?
Yes, I did.
Oh, thanks for
That
doing
was all
that
part
too.
of my moving thing.
That was thoughtful.
Yeah.
So yes, and the reason the 8 sheets were all the sheets were 4x4 is because they wouldn't fit in my vehicle any other way. So
They were 4 by 8,
I'm
you
sitting
cut
with
'em?
these, I'm sitting with these 8x8 sheets and the table saw ripping them down the center before I could load them in the car. So,
Ingenuity.
It's handy.
All right, any other donations? Nope, okay. So we've got a first and a second. We've had a little more discussion. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. All right. Action item 10A, certification of proposed levy, commentary by Amy Lake.
Okay, so yeah, the first step in, our levy process for 2023 taxes, I have to certify a proposed levy tonight, or by the end of, get it to the county auditor by the end of the month. So a recommendation would be to, certify at the maximum amount. And I've included in your packet kind of a summary of what our 22 levy was versus what we'll be proposing for 2023. We did certify the max levy last year. I think what the difference was, what I could figure out is that the referendum amount, obviously you can see on here, was less in 2022 than it is in 2023. And and it was less than it was in previous years as well. And it looks like it had to do with some valuations in the net tax capacity amounts that kind of skewed it a lot, as well as a change in the tax tiers with the local optional portion of it. So thankfully in 2023 we are back up. As far as an overall change in levy, we're looking at a 6.84% increase from 2022 taxes. So, and then we'll do our TNT meeting in December, and we'll bring the actuals with a little more detail for you then, and for the public.
We just have to vote on it now.
Yeah.
It's not an actual.
Nope, this is just saying we're gonna certify the max amount that we can.
No.
I move to approve.
Second.
Second, discussion. So this is a tool the legislature gives us, so we don't have to go out for operating levies. We just got great news that we've got a little bit more money than we thought we had, but with inflation at 8.5% or higher, it's just prudent to do this, so.
Yep.
Any further discussion? And if we've done it, pretty much every year.
And actually, the recommendation from MDE was just to add a training of Kathy Erickson about levy certification, et cetera. And they recommend that every district levies the max at this meeting, because it also helps them in how they figure things out and what they're doing, and it gives the calculations better numbers at the state level. So.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action item 10B, the Michael Lindberg Memorial.
And so what we're looking for this is just if the board would do an approval to have a memorial on site for Michael Lindberg. That's all we're needing to worry about right now, and then that will be taken care of as we move forward. So.
Need a motion?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
And we have a second. Discussion? How many years did he teach for us?
Forever.
Yeah. And he was a coach too, right?
Yep. Softball coach.
And it's just an
What
amazing
what
human.
kind of
Did you
memorial
have
are you
it?
looking at?
There's two different parts
Mom
to the
did too.
memorial. One is going to be a flagpole that will go out in the softball field, and then there's a bench too.
Okay.
So,
Great. Any other discussion?
and it will be nice to, not have the rusty flagpole out there too. And the bench is beautiful. I've seen a picture of it. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It
and
is.
very much detailed exactly the way the family wanted it.
Good.
Any other further discussion? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Action item 10C, naming the soccer practice field. Entertain a motion to do that for the Jane W. Wise Broad Memorial Field.
Motion to approve.
I'll second
Nikki?
that.
And second by Danielle. Any discussion?
As one of the last girls who played varsity boys soccer here, I very much support getting the girls program started, and that your aunt was instrumental in doing that. So it'll be great.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Any other discussion?
You had mentioned paying for it, but please let the school know what we can do to, we don't want that being pushed on, that's on us as well to help.
My husband did the
Well, I know what the hell we paid for that.
Done. Say no more.
We're working on that one.
Like $500,000. I was like, oh, God, okay, no cupcakes are gonna cover it.
Start baking.
I have no problem, we'll cover it. I just love that it's happening, so.
All right. Motion, did we?
No, we didn't vote.
We're voting.
Okay, perfect.
We're voting.
Oh, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Great. Okay. Second reading, proposed policy revisions, no change from August 17th of this year. Student dress and appearance. Jacob?
Yeah, no changes. from
No
some
changes.
months ago. Yeah.
Okay. So do we really need to vote on it then? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a first. Can we have a second?
I'll second.
And we have a second. Discussion. I heard there were no changes.
Have there been any concerns?
Students have loved it.
Good.
I mean, they've been so thrilled by, being comfortable with their space.
No pushback from staff or students? Great. Good.
They absolutely, students have been thrilled by that, probably more than anything else this year.
Good.
And I would say maybe 15% of the students are wearing a hat. I mean, it's not an overwhelming number, but the ones who are just so comfortable.
Not disruptive. That's all we want, right?
Probably way less disruptive than fighting it. So
Yeah.
seeing
Absolutely.
a whole lot over there, 'cause, yeah.
Absolutely.
Perhaps it took the sting of the cell phone policy away.
Yeah. The kids absolutely said that. Trading the backpack and the hats
Yeah.
for the phone, they're like, that was a smart move.
They're smart people.
Fantastic.
Great.
All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. 10E, Staff Handbook.
Yep, and this is more informational, this will be a first look. I'm putting out, there were two staff, I have a staff handbook that I've used before, and there was a current staff handbook that never got published, an employee staff handbook. So I want to get board input on which ones we like, what are the things we like in each one. This one's a little bit different, it kind of goes by each of these. Mine starts out, the one I use starts out with all of the key things that we do in the district, like accounts payable, accounts receivable. Who do you go to? And if that person isn't available, who's the next person? So I'm thinking we'll have a hybrid of this coming up for the next month, but I wanted board input because that's really where, that's part of the governance piece. Is how do we do these things and what do we do? And it will all be done in that same format eventually that we used for the newsletter that went out earlier. So it'll look like a book and be digitally available, and there'll be hot links to each of the things. One of the hot links will be the staff crisis management plan. There'll be hot links to like employee assistance programs, et cetera. So anything employees would need will be hot linked right in there so they can go through.
Gotta ask, what's a hot link?
If you
It's like a
look
hyperlink.
online and you see the
click
little blue thing and you
Hyperlink.
can click on it, it's a hyperlink, it goes right
Oh,
to. yeah.
okay. Got it. Makes sense.
And I'm assuming policies will be included in the hyperlinks.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Yeah, and any policy that's highlighted through the manual that I created originally is a hot link at the front of the book too. So you can look through all of those right there, and then you can also link into them in the policy, or in the blurb written about it.
Procedures, yeah, great.
Does this address, because, for example, our cell phone policy was written for students. So does this address staff's use of cell phones?
The
Because I've
one-
heard they're not allowed to use them, but do we have something that says that they're?
Yep, in the one I have, it says that, so,
Okay.
yep. That's
Unless
so-
they need it for their job.
Unless they need to
Right.
do a job, or during their break time, or prep time, or lunch time.
Is that what, that's what it says?
That's what
Mhm.
that's what I've written.
Okay.
So that's why I wanna get multiple eyes on each of these, then we'll
Mhm.
merge. And my document is up here because mine's done in Word, and it was on a Microsoft link, and I tried to send it to
Okay.
Brittany, and it wouldn't go.
So this is something we can look at
Yep,
over the
this is
next
gonna be
weeks?
over the next
Okay.
couple, next month. Great. Look through this.
All right. Moving on to Education Minnesota report.
Okay, so I just skimmed through this when we sat down here. It's a little small, but I'm sure we'll get up and going. It's kind of early in the year yet. So this is our welcome back week, and we all had lots of good feedback about it. Staff felt professional, appreciated, good information. So these are just some fun photo booth pics. And I know I saw a couple board members popping in, which was really nice. It was probably one of the best welcome back weeks we've had in many years. So, and we know the Moulton family, especially Mrs. Moulton, made a huge contribution of time to the libraries and selecting new books. So certainly a thank you out to them. I have the band people in my PLC group, and they talked about what a good new event this was for their young band students, to have them after school for mini band camps to get familiarized with their instruments. I know they brought in Tim Henke, one of our retired band directors, and I cannot remember who else. Jeff. Sorry, man.
I taught clarinet and baritone.
Yes,
very
and
successful in doing so.
but they raved about what a good experience it was, especially for the first time through, that it was very helpful. So beautiful library looking out at the natural playground. I wanted to go out and climb on the rocks. Okay, that face needs to be like, I don't know, my screensaver.
I love the glasses. Wow.
I thought so too. Cutest kid ever.
I know. That just says it all.
Yes.
Homecoming week seems to be going well. The dress-up days, fun themes, few kids dressing up. I rocked some Mickey Mouse pajama pants today. So, and then the dance and homecoming game coming up, and the parade. Lots of stuff going on.
Are we in need of chaperones, or is there any fear of the dance not being able to happen because there are no chaperones or anything like that?
We're good.
Okay. Because that did happen last year, right? Didn't they have to cancel a dance because we couldn't find
They were
chaperones?
going to, but we got enough.
We did, okay.
Okay. And then the sensory garden and the early discovery preschool program. Good stuff for the wee little ones. And then fun activities from 3rd grade with problem-solving activities. Apple Fest, of course. And then some art activities from Mrs. Boddick. That's it. I think that's it for right now, yeah.
Great. Any questions for our Education Minnesota rep?
Did the landscaping all get completed down at the elementary? Okay. Beautiful.
You filled your garden?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fantastic.
That's a good deal.
All I'm out is a cheesecake and a couple of blisters from the flip in the mall.
You'll be in our next negotiations committee. All right, moving on to administrative reports. High school principal.
Yeah, I'll just move this a little bit closer so you can hear better. I'm not going to read you can read that yourself, but big thing, students are back, which is fun, that's exciting. It's been a great first, almost 3 weeks now. So they're having fun, they're excited. The vibe is, I've been told, entirely different from what it was before. You know, students feel comfortable, they feel happy. Teachers are amazed at how engaged they are because they don't have phones or any temptation really to do them. The cell phone piece has gone way better than I think any of us expected. You know, even during lunch when high schoolers have the option to be on their phone, you walk through and you see maybe, you know, 5 or 6 kids on their phone. There's really not many at all, even when they have the opportunity. So that piece is going really, really well. You know, staff are being super vigilant about it, so it's, you know, it's going well. I'm expecting at some point for there to be a little bit of pushback where people get comfortable and to fall into old habits, but it really hasn't happened yet. You know, we're now at only 3 students in the whole school that have reached like strike 2 in the policy. So, very, very few students who have gone past the warning of a keep your phone away. So that's really nice to see. We did our first kind of parent community event. I was told it was better than parent-teacher conferences for attendance, but we still have a long ways to go as far as getting people back into the building. Those old habits of, you know, staying at home that kind of COVID developed, we got to break those. So we're trying to work on doing that. You know, we'll take into what happened, we'll evaluate, we'll look at things we can do a little bit differently, a little bit better. And we'll have another one coming up in a few months to try and get parents and families back in the building. Homecoming, as it was mentioned, that's about halfway through now. Friday's the big day where the whole school goes out to Old Hickory Park. They have some games and activities out there for the morning. They come back, have lunch, then they get ready for the parade that goes from here out to and around the elementary school and back. Is basically the parade route. And then after that, they have some kind of few more activities in the gym. There's the tailgating that's happening in the parking lot starting at, I believe, 5 o'clock. Football game at 7. Dance is on Saturday night. So, then the other thing, we got a lot of kind of career and college prep stuff coming up over the next month. So we have career fair next Monday for our juniors. And then is it October 10th, I believe is a Monday, we have an activity for our juniors and our seniors, where Ultra Federal Credit Union is coming in, and they're kind of doing the main piece of it. They assign kids randomly, you know, a job and a family and kind of that stuff. They have to navigate through paying bills and mortgage, and unexpected things pop up, such as your water pipes broke, and now you got to pay for your plumbing. It's an activity they did a few years ago, and people absolutely loved it. So we're thrilled to have Ultra come back and do that again for us.
It's awesome.
Hands-on Monopoly.
It's so smart.
Yep. Yeah, so we had a lot of those things kind of coming up. So
Great.
yeah, but we're excited.
Jacob, I had a couple comments, last questions. Also, I heard you met my son already, so I did.
met day one,
I
just
did
talking.
babysit his cell phone at home today, all day.
Yeah.
Yes, so.
He's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And, okay, I've heard a couple of things from parents. One was disappointment that Powder Puff is not happening this year. So I wanted to pass that along.
Yeah.
They've heard mixed reasons as to why. And then the other comment I heard, and then I have a question, is there is apparently a male student on the homecoming queen court list. And my question is, do we need some sort of a policy that clearly states like what we would do in those situations? Or do we need to consider not having king and queen and have just court? Or what are thoughts on that?
So with the Powder Puff, the big piece of the Powder Puff is that they've been warned for the last several years, I've been told, that if some of the vulgar language and inappropriate behavior that occurred during that game didn't stop, the game would cease to exist. You know, we've had students who have purposely tried to injure other people. We've had, you know, vulgar comments back and forth between the junior and senior side, loud swearing. I believe at last year's game, at the very end, there was a big chant of, you know, F the other group.
Yeah, I reffed a couple of those games.
Yes.
And we've had to call them.
Yeah.
Because it's turned into something it wasn't intended to be, so.
Yes. Yep. So a lot of those behaviors
Mhm.
that kind of culminated in the game no longer being school zones.
Okay, thank you.
As far as court, we've talked already about switching to having it just be 10 royalty members. But everyone who is on the female court identifies as a female.
Okay.
But yeah, for next year, we'll probably go, it'll just be 10 royalty members.
Okay. And 2 winners?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yep.
So we might want to do like a policy or whatever, we're gonna, something that clearly articulates what our,
I think that's part of the work that we have to start doing this year,
Right.
is updating some of our policies to be reflective of gender equity as well as equity in other areas,
Mhm.
so. And we're getting some other districts are coming out with some, and MSBA is coming out with some, so we've got
I think that'd be good.
examples that we can start following too.
Yeah, good pancake.
And I'm guessing prom will be the same.
I'm sure we'll have the same issue there too.
Mhm.
Yeah. So.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Jacob, I followed some boys after football practice the other night, or after a football game, I should say, that was on the practice field before the varsity soccer game, and they saw you standing out there.
Yeah.
And there were a few of the boys, and I thought it was cute, so a few of the boys were like, that's our new principal, he's pretty cool. So I had to tell you that.
Good. Cool isn't super high on my list of things that you recommend. I'll take it when I can get it.
From sweaty football players, I thought that was a nice compliment.
All right, any other questions? Okay. Middle school principal, Josh.
Yeah, one of the main things I was gonna talk about was the school safety conference that I went to with Officer Ernster. We talked about that a little bit earlier. But we have some work to do. I think the retraining of the staff and fine tuning some of those procedural things, and including all of the stakeholders in that process will be extremely important. That obviously staff, students, parents, community members, all EMT people. It takes literally the entire community to respond appropriately to a crisis, and so we'll get the conversation going and fine tune anything we need to adjust, and we'll go from there. I think it'll be a good opportunity for us to make some improvements on what we have in place right now. Great start to the middle school. Our entire staff is really hammering home the answer way, the respectful, responsible, safe mindset with really everything that we do in transition, in the lunchroom, in the hallways, in the classrooms. And we're seeing a much different start to the middle school this year than we did last year. Last year was a lot of retraining on how to interact appropriately with each other. And we're starting off more of in what I would consider to be the normal way into the school year, which is very, very nice to see. We're seeing some self-correcting from student to student on the Lancer way, where they're hearing some of the language being repeated, which is great. And I told them, I said, you're gonna hear the same language all the way through graduation, as we made that commitment as a district, K-12, to the Lancer way. And so it's nice to see that that's really starting to sink in. We're seeing a cleaner cafeteria, cleaner hallways, and just it's really a very nice start to the school year. So very excited about where we are right now.
Is it fair to say, Josh, there's been fewer behavioral referrals at the beginning of this year versus, for the first 3 weeks of this year versus?
3 weeks right now, I have 3.
Wow.
None of which are even close to what I would put in the major category.
And how many do
Wonderful.
you think you had last year?
Oh, it was probably closer to 15.
Okay.
Significantly higher.
I have a question in regards to your, the Alice training stuff that you were mentioning. Do we have our bus drivers included in on that? I know it's not in relation to a classroom environment, but I feel like that's an important place to also.
Things that Mike and I did talk about, who do we include in this, do we include our custodial staff, that really needs to get all hands on deck.
Yeah.
Last time we did the training, we did not.
Okay. I'd recommend that.
An outside organization to run the training, and an officer for myself assisted with that. I think the two of us running it together.
And maybe focus more on a bus situation, if there was something of that nature, being that they're the only person on that bus that's.
Absolutely.
I think that's a great caption, probably a separate activity.
Still needed.
But I do think that that's a good idea. We did, Clover and I went over and worked with the bus.
And who's Clover?
Ready. Clover is the special ed director for our building through HVED. Clover and I went over and we talked at the opening of the bus drivers, their picnic and when they came and got all their direction from Ready Bus, etc. We had about an hour to an hour and a half presentation there, talking about the Lancer Way and how that is done on the bus and what the behaviors are expected and how we show that, responsible, respectful, safe on the bus and some of the language that they can use to try and support that instead of saying, hey, you need to sit down on the bus, is standing on the bus being safe? Is that being responsible? Those type of things. And so coaching, it was a really good meeting.
I'd be curious too if Ready already has something in place for their own staff. I can only assume, but I would expect that they would have some kind of training already, but
And definitely because they work
still
with
good to
multiple
handshake,
school
yeah.
districts too, for that at least be familiar with
Right.
what our process is as well.
Right, yep.
I would encourage my fellow board members to go to the Alice training as well. If you've never been to one, it's a real eye-opener, so. All right, any other questions for Josh? Okay, Principal Kopp.
Yes.
Just barely.
All right, some updates for you. Just scroll down to the pictures. I'll just let you know that we've added kind of a pop of color to the
Cool.
mezzanine area, which is above the media center with the support of our PTO. We've been able to get these durable decals that go on the LVT flooring, and they should last quite a long time. What they're designed to do is be a place for students that might just need a break to focus their attention, get their wiggles out. There's counting, the alphabet, it's got instructions to breathe. So they're using these skills that they're learning for self-regulation so that they don't disrupt the classroom. They can go to the space. I walked through with a 4th grade student, had to walk through it twice, and we had a fire drill in between. So adjust the schedule, they're a little bit dysregulated. They now have a place and a space to get that purpose back. So that's really wonderful to have in our space, and it brightens up the space too. So thank you, PTO, for that. In addition to that, we have sensory bins, which are just things that kids can fidget with and not disrupt others. That was provided through a partnership with Prince of Peace. We have a sensory lending library, so there's wiggle seats and chairs and fidgets that teachers can sign out. This is something we've been talking about for a few years now, and it's really starting to come, all the pieces are starting to be put together. So it goes right along with our training for how to meet student needs and respond positively and appropriately and proactively. So those are the things that we're doing to improve student-staff relationships and behaviors.
Jeff?
Yeah, go ahead.
And on Monday, I spent some time
Yes.
at the elementary building and actually had that same kind of one-on-one experience with a young man who was on he got his wiggle seat for the first time. And so it was, how does that work and how does it go into the classroom and what's he doing? And so we were doing that, and it was a little tough for him, but we figured it out, and we did go through the sensory walk a couple of times, and he corrected me on how I was doing it, so that's why we had to repeat, because I wasn't doing it correctly. And so, but it did, those are all things that really do help kids graft onto those pieces of self-regulation and what they're doing and identifying where they're at. And this young man did he transitioned back and did a much better job. And so it's also trying to get the other kids to adjust to that too. So I had a conversation with another child in that room who went, you gotta take him, right now, take him. And so we talked about how that maybe made people not feel safe. And you know, doing things like that. So we're in a big learning process, so as you hear those things, just be ready for them. I'm excited that Jeff's showcasing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the media center, that picture is kind of faded and doesn't do it justice, but stop by anytime to see the media center in action. Kathy Melbestad's doing a fantastic job of facilitating learning in that space. The students are getting books. We're going to be, there's now a TV screen that we've got set up to do a bullying prevention unit with our social workers. Going to do Unity Day and Unity Month. Basically, the whole next month is going to be surrounding social emotional learning as we look to get to the the preventative part of the bullying. So we're not responding to when kids make mistakes. We're giving kids the power to be an upstander, not a bystander, and just giving them the tools to help prevent bullying. So again, a huge thank you to Christy Moulton for helping write grants to get the software program up and running, to do inventorying 2,000 books, and just doing a ton of work volunteering over the summer with her expertise, and Mark Moulton building those slightly smaller cases than what we had originally gotten, so that kids can access books at their level. It's just really great to see that space. It's so bright, and it shows the natural playground right in the background. It's just a great place to work every day. So thank you for everyone who helped provide this for our students. This is not going to reach.
Okay. You know, one thing I'll say is you look at how just amazing that media center looks, and then look around this room. And we talked, at negotiations when we had time to caucus, we kind of sidebarred about, this room needs really some love. It looks like a storage space for technology, and, are there things we could do with this space that really could make it more utilized by the students, the community, and make it more inviting, similar to that space that's been created at the elementary school?
Yeah, and I'll share with the group what I shared in our little caucus, is that Christy has offered to come over and help with this library after the other one. We have a couple of ideas, and I'm in the process of working with a couple people to make sure it doesn't look like a tech disposal or a tech graveyard in here. And also get us some money back from those too, because I've found a couple of resources where I think they will actually pay us to take some of this stuff off our hands, so that'll be a good thing.
Great.
Fantastic. All right, Beth Seed, Community Ed Report.
All right, well, we're off and running. Great start to the year at preschool, great start at Kids Company. We've got 100 to 110 kids a day at Kids Company. Hoping we get some staff soon, thanks to Jody and Bernie from the Community Ed office, and Brittany even from helping out when we've been short-staffed. Fall catalog, just got notification this evening that it will be much later than we planned for it to be in mailboxes. October 10th was not the date I wanted to be hearing from them, but we have a lovely new online software that we'll be utilizing, so that will be up on Friday. This morning we had the Safe Routes to School working group back together for our fall meeting. Collaboration between all the schools in town, as well as the city and Houston County and MnDOT. A lot of ongoing work continues with that big plan that was put together in 2019. We'll have walk and roll to school days on October 12th, and then also again in May. We will be bringing back a bike rodeo this May as well. We haven't done that since pre-COVID, not COVID. Oh geez, embarrassing. And yeah, and then working on a couple of new classes that were suggested at the meeting this morning. But cooler yet, if you want to keep scrolling down, it was a great Apple Fest weekend at this secondary school campus. We had the Chamber Arts and Craft Fair and Flea Market. Very well received. Attendance was way up from last year, which was wonderful. And then if Brittany can scroll down to Chalk Fest, these were our two winners here. We have the People's Choice winner and the Artist's Choice winner. And these are out here on Lancer Boulevard if you want to go take a look at them afterward. You can keep scrolling for a couple more pictures.
And that's just
some
chalk?
other artwork that is just gorgeous if you've seen the Facebook pages or anything. It's a great event, and while we didn't have quite the number of artists that we had hoped to have, We know that we had more sidewalk traffic this year based on the number of entries we had in the People's Choice voting bin. So that's, and you know everybody doesn't fill it out, so hopefully, yeah, we just keep continuing to grow. And one thing for the board members that will be running for election this year, as part of my job, my role with the Chamber of Commerce and Community Ed, we have done an annual candidate forum. Some of you remember it. We had it in the auditorium during COVID, so it could be recorded and live streamed. That was something that was very well received, and we intend to run it in that style again. We're just working on landing on a date that wouldn't conflict with any potential playoffs that might be in the future this year. So more to come on that.
I heard nothing but great things about the craft fair. People loved it.
Great. Great news.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, if you want to bring us home,
Yeah,
Mindy.
okay, so, basically, as everyone has said, start of the year, it's been a fabulous start to the year. I've heard nothing but positive things, lots of support for everything everyone's doing. And really, it exemplifies, in my opinion, what I've said all along and what I have on my mug, that every one of us here in La Crescent Polka Public Schools is good alone, but when we are together, we are so much better. And that's been just exemplified in every area that we've worked through. I'm excited about homecoming and all the things that are coming up for that. I was at Apple Fest. I spent a good deal of time in the Lions tent. And I'm not really looking forward to barbecuing corn at my house for any time in the near future, or red potatoes.
It was
for that matter,
delicious,
but,
though. It was delicious.
So that was great. It was wonderful to see the community come together and support everyone for Apple Fest too, and to be together there. Couple of things I just wanted to kind of keep people up to speed on. We talked about the ALICE training. That was one of the things I was going to mention here, and what happened earlier in the day. We have some sports projects, and so just an FYI point of information for board members, we've been talking about and having meetings with different booster groups and sports groups to try and move some things forward. Uriah has done a great job, and he got us 3 bids for a concrete path that will go from the parking lot of that baseball field area parking lot, soccer field area parking lot, all the way up to where the bleachers are, and then it's going to be a little bit more than what we thought there, because we also did some other ADA compliant pieces where we're going to extend the pad and make it so that wheelchairs can park there and still see everything, and that'll be a good thing. We are going ahead, the construction, or the concrete company that can do that and did the bid for $19,000 can put that in this fall. And so we're going to start that right away.
That's awesome.
I'm working on getting the sewer and water, or the sewer, because we've got water in each area. I'm getting the quotes on that so we can start building there. The other thing is you have layout in front of you. The softball boosters, and April in particular sent that to me. That is the quote for how we're going to re-roof the dugouts in the softball field. And the interesting thing you'll find there is they were able to solve the problem of the press box, because the press box right now looks out at the outfield. It doesn't look at home plate at all at the softball field. And so by putting it on top of the guest dugout, we're able to put that there, move it closest to home plate. They'll have a good view there. We'll also have expanded seating, so we can do some fundraisers for different activities by selling seating off up there, doing a few other fun things. It can be, you know, kind of like the St. Paul Saints games. We can have some fun stuff happening during them now. So we've got that going. The other thing that we talked about and I'm looking at is trying to find a price on a food truck. We've been trying to brainstorm what we do with the concession stand for each of the games. There's no real good spot to put a concession stand in between the track, football, soccer, and baseball fields over there, because no matter where you put it, the parents are not going to be able to, and parents are the ones that generally run the concession stand. They're not going to be able to see their kids play on each of the fields if we do that. So one of the ideas I had is looking for a used food truck, and then having that painted and geared up to the Lancer way, And then we can set up the food truck where it would drive in and then be able to park so that every team that used it, we could face in there. It also gives us the opportunity of if we have an event happening at one of the schools, we can bring that there for an outdoor event, or if we wanted to do something, you know, something fun, maybe bring it to Apple Fest and sell Lancer gear out of it. You know, so it gives us a lot of options, and it'll it looks like it'll probably be less expensive than doing a full build on the concession stand too. So that's kind of the sports updates, just going back to what we had talked about in August. As of tomorrow at 4:30, our tech director has resigned, so I wanted to take some time to just thank her for the work she's done here over the last 10 years. And I have a plan moving forward, and I've got someone coming in to do some consulting with me, so we won't be losing any ground for our students or our staff in that area. It'll just look a little bit different right now. Dan Esser, who is the worker bee behind the tech department, he is still gonna be here. He's been stepping up and doing an awful lot of things. Other office staff, district level and building level have taken on some of those responsibilities, so just carry it through as we go. The bus stop. Brittany, can you pull up those pictures? So the city of La Crescent came to me, and I put this in your updates the other day. They would like to put a bus stop like this on our property, and I'll show you this little segment where it just goes in. This is outside of the middle school here, where it just kind of the pull-off for the buses, the old bus pull-off is there. I have not committed on the part of the district yet, because Tyler from the city needs to answer several of my questions. One being, what about injuries or slip and falls, those type of things? What about maintenance? Because originally they were suggesting that we had to remove the snow, and I said no, we're not doing that. And so just some of those things, looking at why isn't it going on the other side of the street, because basically this doesn't serve any of our students or staff. This is a direct benefit for the apartment complex across the way. So it's still up in the air, so I want to get some insurance questions answered, some legal questions answered, some right-of-way, some maintenance things, and then we'll see where that goes. But I'll keep the board up to date on that in your updates. But I wanted to show you the pictures so you know exactly what we're talking about there.
Right, like, is that considered boulevard and city-owned, or is that actual school property that's not?
I believe it's still our property, and he was looking at that too.
Okay.
So, he did say that he would, so it's not as much of a mowing issue, that he'd have the city extend the concrete to fill in most of that little triangle there.
I think it should go across the street.
My thought was too. But
Well, they've got sidewalk on that side, that's probably why. Well, we do too.
So we have sidewalk on
we do
both
sidewalks
sides.
Okay.
too. My understanding is that the owner of the apartment complex is not exceptionally
What about down at the Fitzgerald Center?
on it, you know,
Down
happy
closer
about
to
that
the corner.
idea. So,
Okay.
but I'm holding to my guns, so, on that one. Like I said, Beth mentioned the board candidate forum. We talked about MSEA negotiations. On the air conditioning in the gym that we talked about earlier, we've got a couple of ideas of some things that we can do to just kind of stopgap some things for right now. Patrick is looking at, Train has portable 5-ton air conditioning units that you can rent. And we were thinking about trying to bring one of those in to try it out. We've got a couple of games coming up in a couple of weeks, and just to see what they would, what kind of a deal will they give us to rent something like that for right now, to make it more manageable. And then if that is an option, then that becomes an option for when we have events in the gym where people are maybe gonna be a little hot. We also, there's some fans that you can daisy chain together, and so we've got 7 or 8 of those that we'll be able to use too, so that the fans will blow up on the benches and then also towards the stands, so we can get some more airflow and not just use those big barn fans. So, and I think that's about it.
Any other questions for Mindy? Entertain a motion to
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All right. Good meeting. 7:09.